This is an analysis from Alpha Business Media. Today, we're diving into a critical issue inside Nepal's economy, a multi-billion rupee opportunity that's hiding in plain sight within its supply chain.
You know, that quote really sets the stage perfectly. It paints a picture of this massive, yet almost invisible problem. We're talking about a huge economic leak happening every single day on the roads of Nepal.
So, to make this real, just picture a truck. It's packed to the brim with fresh tomatoes from the fertile fields of Japa, and it's making the long haul to Kathmandu. But along that 450-kilometer journey, with all the heat, the dust, the delays, up to a third of that valuable cargo becomes either second-rate or totally unsellable. Its value just gets destroyed along the way.
And listen, this isn't just about one unlucky truck driver. This number, 20 to 30%, that's the estimated loss for all fruits and vegetables in Nepal after they're harvested. This isn't just a series of accidents, it's a systemic failure. A failure that keeps farmer incomes down, drives our food prices up, and honestly, it undermines the entire nation's food security.
Okay, so the problem is pretty clear. But what's the solution? Well, this is where it gets really interesting, because the common way of thinking about this problem has led to a completely flawed diagnosis, and it's trapping us in a cycle of failure. The story you usually hear is this: we just need to build more big, shiny cold storage buildings, and poof, the problem will be solved. But that, right there, is a dangerously incomplete analysis. It's like treating a symptom while completely ignoring the actual disease.
The real failure lies in what we're calling the cold chain missing middle. And this isn't a gap in hardware or buildings. It's a gap in smart business models, in workable economics for the average farmer, and crucially, in the flow of basic information. You've got the produce growing on one end and the market waiting on the other. What's missing is the smart, profitable system to connect the two. So, to actually solve this missing middle problem and unlock this huge opportunity, we can't just skim the surface. We've got to go deeper. Let's deconstruct the three core economic constraints that are actually causing this whole system to fail.
So you've got these three challenges, and they're all tangled up together like a complex knot. First, production is completely fragmented. Second, the unit costs are just prohibitive. And third, there's a severe lack of information flowing through the system. Let's break down exactly what each of those means.
So why doesn't just collecting it all work? Well, look at the numbers here. The average farm in Nepal is tiny, less than a hectare. For a big 10-ton truck, it makes zero economic sense to stop at 20 or 30 different micro-farms just to fill up. And for the individual farmer, the math just doesn't add up. The cost to get their small harvest to a big, centralized cold storage facility would just eat up any profit they might have made.
And that leads us right into the third constraint. The whole system is basically flying blind. A farmer in Sarlehi has no clue what the real-time demand is in Kathmandu. A supermarket in the city has no way to accurately forecast supply. This data vacuum means everyone is forced to depend on a long chain of middlemen, where spoilage isn't seen as a problem to be solved, it's just accepted as a built-in cost of doing business.
So, fragmented farms, costs that are way too high, and a total data vacuum. It's pretty obvious that these big static buildings aren't the answer. So, what is? Well, the solution isn't about building bigger, it's about building smarter and, most importantly, more mobile. It's time for what we call a reefer revolution, and it's all about refrigerated trucks, or reefers for short.
And this comparison just lays it all out. A static cold storage facility is a high-risk, fixed asset. If the local crop fails one season, that expensive building just sits there empty. A reefer truck, on the other hand, is flexible. It's a de-risked asset. It can go where the harvest is. It can follow the mangoes in Bardibas, then shift over to Alam for the kiwi season, then head to Chitwan for vegetables. It brings the cold chain to the produce, not the other way around.
And this mobility unlocks an incredibly powerful business model: logistics as a service. Think about it. Instead of every farmer needing to afford their own cold chain, a logistics company can just offer them shared space on a truck. This turns a huge capital expense, a CapEx problem, into a much smaller, manageable operating expense, or OpEx. It completely democratizes access for smaller cooperatives.
And if you're an investor, the case is just crystal clear. I mean, look at these numbers. Instead of a multi-core, high-risk mega project, you can get started with a single reefer truck for around 60 to 80 lakhs. You can prove the model on one route, then you can scale your fleet one truck at a time. It's a phased, validated, and just a much smarter way to deploy capital. But here's the most crucial point. Reducing waste, that's only part of the story. The real prize, the absolute core of this multi-billion rupee opportunity, is something else entirely. It's what we call the arbitrage of quality.
Now this is the single most important takeaway from this whole analysis. The real game isn't just about saving the produce that gets thrown away. It is about fundamentally upgrading the value of the 70% of produce that actually makes it to the market. You're shifting from a basic commodity to a premium product, and that changes everything for a farmer's bottom line.
This chart shows you exactly what I mean. A standard, road-weary tomato might sell for 40 rupees a kilo in a chaotic wholesale market, but a firm, vibrant, cold chain certified tomato that's delivered straight to a premium supermarket, that can easily command 65 rupees or even more. The high-end buyers are more than happy to pay a 50 to 70% premium for guaranteed quality and consistency. So what does that premium actually translate to? It means an additional 250,000 rupees in revenue per truck, per trip. That single number completely transforms the entire economic equation. It more than covers the extra costs of the refrigerated transport and creates this massive new profit pool that can be shared all the way down to the value chain.
So, this brings us to a strategic choice. For investors, for entrepreneurs, for policymakers, there are two very, very different paths forward for Nepali agribusiness.
On one path, we have the status quo. More waste, volatile incomes for farmers, and this tragic dependency on imported produce to meet our own demand for high-quality goods. The other path, that's the strategic one. It's about building scalable, logistics-first businesses that actually elevate farmer livelihoods and create a resilient national food system. The choice is stark, and frankly, the stakes couldn't be higher.
So how do we kickstart this change? Well, it doesn't need massive government spending. What it needs is a surgical policy intervention. By simply creating a distinct customs class for agricultural refrigerated transport and providing a modest 20 to 25% tax rebate on imported reefer units, we can dramatically lower the barrier to entry for the entrepreneurs who are ready to build this new system.
And that really brings us to the final hard truth of it all. The technology already exists, the capital is out there and available. The real bottleneck is a shift in mindset, moving from a fragmented, individualistic approach to a collaborative, quality-focused ecosystem. And for the company that cracks that code, the reward won't just be profit. It'll be the chance to redefine the entire future of Nepal's agribusiness economy. Now that is an opportunity worth seizing.